Hey, Mark.
How are you, Kim?
I'm all right. How about yourself?
Oh, just duckier. For a moment there, I thought we were the only two here.
We are. Oh, well, now Austin joined us, but yes, we were the only two here for a second. Hi, Austin.
Hey.
Hey, the Austin brothers.
Hey, Mark. How are you, buddy?
Good. How about you?
Good.
That's okay. When I go to an NSPE meeting, there's Tim Austin, Mark Austin, and Austin Lind. So we've decided we're the Austin brothers, and we're going to take.
It's a good name.
That's great.
So, it's a
Hey,
good name.
we have a great time with it, and
Yep.
Tim Austin was the president, and I could see someday Austin Lind being president. He is that smart. He really is. Great guy.
Hi, Jules. Hi, Adam.
Hey, Kim.
Hi, Kim.
Hey.
Hi, Mr. Austin, Mr. Caesar.
Good evening.
Hi, Justin.
Hello, all people with Austin in their name. And Justin. And Adam.
No, hey, you said Austin in their name. It's one letter of separation. We're practically the same thing.
And Justin, for all I know, your middle name is Austin. So, you know,
Could be.
could be. I don't know.
Hi, everyone.
Hi,
Hi,
Betty.
Daddy.
Evening.
Hi, Berita.
Good evening.
Hi, Mick.
Hello. Oops, let me get in there.
Wow, that's fancy. Professor McGarry Esquire.
Marjorie's not joining us tonight.
She won't be able to make it.
Yeah, she can't make it. She's too uncomfortable. She had therapy this afternoon.
Oh, poor Marjorie.
Been there, done that. I understand thoroughly.
Yeah, you have good days, you have bad days.
Yep. Mainly bad days in the beginning. I know from experience.
Does she still have that cool icing machine?
Yeah,
Did she
we
have?
didn't have that. We didn't have that back when I had mine done, unfortunately.
No, that thing sounds actually really, really great. Not that I, would want to get a knee replaced to check it out. Sounds really good.
Oh, I'm sure it is, because that's the best thing for it is ice.
My mom is getting her knee replaced in May.
Oh,
Good for her. I had mine done like 14 years ago, and it was a generic knee replacement, but now they size it to your knee and do all that sort of stuff. So it's so much better. Plus you go home the same day.
That's amazing.
Dominique. Hi, Scott.
and Dr. Horsley's on the way. She just texted, she's running a little bit late.
Hi, Dominique.
I appreciate y'all's wisdom, but now I'm concerned about my knee.
I hate to tell you, it's not just the knee. Everything starts to go.
Oh, everything.
Oh, yeah. I
Hello,
have one
Berita.
shoulder that hasn't been replaced so far.
Yeah, come on, Justin. You can be bionic. It'll work.
Come
for you.
on.
Just don't try to get on a flight with Betty.
Oh my God, it's horrible.
Mick, did you talk to Athena about tonight?
I did talk to Athena. She's in transit, so she'll join us if possible. But Dom will chair if Athena's not able to make it.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Is Dominique aware of it as well?
Yes, I
Yeah.
am.
Okay. All right. Mark, I'm so sorry about your item. I don't know what I did. I'm so sorry.
Well, we'll have, while we're getting ready here, I'm not on camera. What we'll do is we'll have a special meeting on Wednesday. We can talk about it tonight, but we can't take any action on it because it wasn't, the backup wasn't there, and that has to do with the executive orders. So we have to honor that. We have to make sure we do everything the right way. We can talk about it tonight, get all the details, and we can have the official vote on Wednesday. And that
When would the special meeting be Wednesday? Because we already have the 7 o'clock questions for the department heads.
6 o'clock.
5:45. Yeah, it's 6 o'clock. So 5:45 we'll have the meeting. I'm assuming, it looks like a great, great concept, great idea, great plan. So, you know, if there's no big issues, you know, we'll just have a quick meeting Wednesday, get the approval, follow the process, and that way we can have it on the agenda for Monday, not delay it. Because, you know, it seems like a really good thing to do.
Typos happen.
It happens. All right, so do we have a quorum here for, who's up first? Economic
We
development?
do. We do. It looks like we do.
Okay. And environment is after that.
I still can't figure out how to log into the civics clerk for leading a meeting, so.
Yeah, we're slow rolling that. Next cycle around, the plan is we'll start maybe 1 or 2 committees to test it, see if we run into problems. We'll probably have, no offense, one of you youth be chair of the meeting. So, you know, we can kind of test it out with someone who's flexible at, you know, the digital realm, who's a digital native rather than a visitor, like myself and some of the others. And then see what problems arise. Hopefully civics clerk has ironed out things on their side, their end of the deal. And so we'll slow walk it in April and then just start rolling in more and more committees. So we're gonna start the ball slowly and make sure that anything comes up, we can go old school and then we can implement it for everybody once everything is running well.
I just want to make a distinction. At this point, I feel I've been on the council long enough, yet I am still young enough to literally be an old boy. So there you go.
As long as you're not a proud boy, that's crazy talk. Why don't we go ahead and get started then? Dom, do you want to?
All right then. I didn't get my sheet yet from Kim that has the.
I CC'd you, Dominique. Hold on. Let me find it quick.
I need to refresh.
1 second. Let's see who can find it first.
What is it labeled?
It probably in the subject says economic and development sheet or something like that. It's probably abbreviated.
I don't see it. I'm gonna search sheet. I don't have anything from today.
No, I sent it Friday.
You sent it Friday.
Yes. Late afternoon Friday, probably between 4 and 4:30. Okay, here's Athena's here.
Can you forward it to me?
Yep, I'm going to.
I'm gonna print it out. Can someone go first? Because I'm gonna print out my stuff real quick. Is that okay?
The others don't have a quorum yet, so we'll.
Oh, the others don't have a quorum. Okay.
Yeah, but that's all right. We'll wait. Go ahead.
Yeah, we can take a minute.
Fast printer.
And we might have a quorum now as Jeron and Kath were in the audience.
Okay, so we do have for environment, we do have a quorum now with Jeron here. Oh, and Valerie's here. Perfect. We have quorums for all now.
Okay.
Stephanie's not on any of these.
All right, then I'm going to wait on my agenda to pop out the printer too.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Um,
Justin, do you have your sheet?
um,
Do you want to check in on the others? So Austin and
Austin has his.
you guys have your sheets for
Justin, do you have yours?
purposes?
I am.
I have mine.
looking.
I'm good.
Thank you, Austin.
Justin, I could re-forward it if you need me to. Make it easy.
Yeah, if you can, I apologize. I don't want to have you resend it, but I don't see it.
All right, I'll find it while we.
Okay, I
That's
don't know
the
why
song.
I don't know why my printer's taking so long, so I'll just read this off the screen here. So I'm going to call to order the Economic Development Committee meeting this evening at 7:10 p.m. Tonight I am Dominique Baez, and I'm sitting in for our friend and colleague, Miss Athena Gary. So I'm going to do the attendance for this committee. Athena Gary, Chair, is absent today. Dominique Baez, Vice Chair, present. Justin Farmer, present. Valerie Horsley, present. Marjorie Bonadies, I did not see. I think she's absent. Someone correct me if I'm wrong.
She's up.
Yeah, she's up.
Okay, Marjorie Bonadies is absent. Berita Rowe Lewis, Majority Leader, present. And Betty Wetmore, Minority Leader, also present. Tonight, we have a few changes to our agenda, and that is that we will be pulling the appointment of Charles Elbert, the reappointment of Ted Stevens, and the reappointment of Wayne Chorney to be revisited. I think they need to find some more information on this before we go forward and do a vote on it, if I'm correct. I'd also like to say that item number 5, the order authorizing the Rain Gardens construction project, will instead not be voted on, but it will be an information item. With that being said, I'd like to open up the public comment for this committee. So if there is any public comment tonight, please raise your hand and we'll get you on the line. Is there any public comment for this committee this evening? Is there any public comment for this committee this evening? Okay, seeing none, I will begin by going with the number 4. So I want to, item number 4 on our list here. Reappointment of Stephen R. Rolnick to Economic Development Commission for a term to expire January 31st, 2026. Does anyone want to move this?
So moved.
Thank
Second.
you. Second by Farmer. Any discussion?
Yes. Chairwoman, if I could steal the time.
All right.
Cool. Sorry, I wasn't sure if there was a queue yet or something. I just wanted to take this time to, in the spirit of former Councilman Annis, to thank all the people who are doing the work of the town, who are sharing time with us and volunteering. You know, these commissions and boards are so important. They inform us. They make sure that we stay on task and really give more direct democracy to our community. So I thank everyone tonight who is volunteering their time for these boards and commissions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Farmer. With that being said, do we want to take a vote on this? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, it passes unanimously. With that being said, I'm going to go on to something that probably should have done first, which is our information item number 5, order authorizing the rain garden construction project.
So moved.
I'm gonna second it so we can open up discussion. So is that Mr. Mark Austin who's going to speak on that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, welcome.
Town engineer, and here to present the rain garden construction project. This is a project that the council itself has seen before. We've went through the grant funding. This is a grant we're partnering with Save the Sound to put together a rain garden. The town is going to be doing the heavy lifting construction work. The grantee, which is Save the Sound, will be providing the materials, and the match for this project is the physical work. They also are going to be working with some of the other volunteer groups to do some minor planting. We'll probably take care of some of the trees and the bigger, heavier stuff. This is to be done at the base of the hill near the parking lot for the school. The school construction itself will not affect the pond. We've worked together with the school and how they're going to be moving the parking lot. So as it turns out, they will not affect each other. And this is a water quality piece. So we're going to be taking water that comes onto the fields now and infiltrates. This is actually a water quality method that allows more water to go into the ground, vegetation to clean up any of the nutrients. And it should reduce some of the small flows that go across the field, even though the field itself is predominantly sand and dries up luckily very quickly. This is the 824. And now it remains, we're going to get a minor mod from the commission itself, and then we should be good to go for construction. That's sweet and simple what it is. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, folks, you guys have any questions for Director Alston?
I have a question.
Councilman Farmer?
Thank you for all your work, as always, being judicious or hunting for these opportunities. I guess my question to you, in terms of long-term maintenance, who would be responsible for these rain gardens are usually usually good at maintaining themselves, but will this be on the radar of Public Works or the school, or are we going to do some programming with students once schools are back up to kind of pay attention to it? I guess that's just my only question, because I'd hate for us to plant all this vegetation and do all this work, and if a huge flood comes by and wipes it out, then we got to start from ground zero again.
Thank you for that question. The most pressing piece you're going to find for maintenance on this is going to be sediment that comes off the road. We're talking gravels and sands. We have a sediment forebay that Public Works will be taking care of up at the top of the pond. The water comes into the pond. The vegetation is fairly low maintenance. That'll require going in, maybe pulling the occasional weed, watching out for non-native invasives, and maybe freshen up the mulch once a year. So it's a fairly low maintenance structure. This would be falling on Public Works. Your second question, which is education and other participations, this can be used as an open air classroom. So we have done some discussions potentially about in the future supplementing something off to the side, but that's in preliminary stages. It's not part of this grant. So the schools would be interested in this. The original grant that went out actually predated me, and it went out through the schools. So the schools actually started this process. And then we ended up picking up the grant later and finishing it off and getting the construction going. So the answer to your question is yes and yes.
I thank you as always for your due diligence, and again, you've outdone yourself. So thank you for all the work you do in your department.
Thank you.
Do we have any more questions from the council people? Okay, quick question from me. You said there would be some community help for the plants in the garden. Are those from official groups? Which groups are those?
It would be Save the Sound. And they're in preliminary discussions with the West River Watershed Association and the Mill River Watershed Association, and they are bringing in other local groups. But
Okay.
it's being head up by Save the Sound.
Okay. I love when we have a lot of hands in the pot to get something done. You know, many hands makes the work light. I believe the old saying is.
And so does some heavy equipment, which is public
Some
works.
heavy equipment. Do you know how much we as a town are spending on the labor through public works?
That's the labor is our match.
Okay.
So this shouldn't take more than about a week or so's worth of labor.
Okay. And do you have a dollar amount on that?
Offhand, I don't. I believe the grant itself is around $200,000 in materials.
Mhm.
So, and I don't remember what the percentage was that we would handle. That could either be 20% or 50%. I don't remember offhand. I'd
Okay.
have to look that up and get back to you.
Okay. It's just good to know the general information about it. Okay, then thank you so much for your information. If there's anything else you think that we need to hear, please let us know. But if that's all the information, I'm going to close the committee.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for coming tonight. All right. With that being said, the time is 7:20 and I will be adjourning our committee. Thank you, y'all.
Thank you, Ms. Bias. Mr. Farmer.
You're muted.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Good evening, all. I will now open up the Environment and Conservation Committee meeting at 7:21 p.m. Members in attendance are myself, Justin Farmer, Chair. It is much harder to see everyone with the screen up. Myself, the Vice Chair, Mr. McDowell, is absent. Ms. Bondi's is absent. Ms. Gary is absent. Mr. Alton, Councilman Alton rather, is here. Chair, Councilwoman Berita Rowe Lewis, Majority Leader, is here, and Councilwoman Betty Wetmore, Minority Leader, is here. So we have a quorum. We have 4 items on our agenda tonight. First, I will take public comment from anyone on any of the items we have here today. Is there anyone who would like to give public comment? Anyone who would like to give public comment, if you are interested, raise your hand and we will acknowledge you. Once again, anyone who would like to give public comment? Seeing none, I will close the public comment section of our meeting and I will move on to our items tonight. So our first item, appointment of Timothy L. McKee to the Energy Use and Climate Change Commission for a term to expire July 31st, 2022. And I so move. Can I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Majority Leader Rowe Lewis. Any discussion? Seeing none, I will close discussion and move on to a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those who oppose? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Okay, I will move on to our second item tonight. Appointment of David W. Radcliffe to the Farmington Canal Commission for a term to expire December 31st, 2023. And can I have
So
a
moved.
motion? Moved
So
by
moved.
Ms. Wetmore. Thank you. Um, uh, and I will second for expediency. Um, I will open it up to discussion. Any discussion on the motion at hand? Seeing none, I will move to a vote. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none opposing. Any abstentions? None. The motion carries. I will move on to item 3, reappointment of Susan Coolis to the Energy Use and Climate Change Commission for a term to expire July 31st, 2023. And I will move. Can someone second? Okay, Betty seconds. All right, thank you. Discussion. Any discussion from anyone? I will take the opportunity to just share that I've known Miss Coolis for some time now. She is a wonderful person, has done great work on the Energy Use and Climate Change Committee. So we thank her for continuing to dedicate her time to the town. And I will call for a vote if there's no further discussion. Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. And our last item tonight, reappointments of Phil Nista, Richard A. Perry, William L. Doe Jr., and Michael McCannis to the Natural Resource and Open Spaces Commission for a term to expire January 31st, 2025. And
So
can I
moved.
get a motion? Moved by Ms. Rowe Lewis. And I will second. Any discussion? Seeing none, I will call for a vote. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes, and that is the rest of our business tonight for this committee. And I will close our the Environment and Conservation Committee at 7:27.
Thank you, Mr. Farmer. Mr. Caesar?
Thank you. I'd like to call a meeting of the Education Committee of the Hamden Legislative Council at 7:28 p.m. Present and voting tonight are myself, Austin Caesar, Chair, Valerie Horsley, Vice Chair, Jeron Alston, present, Jody Klaus, present, Brad McDowell, absent, Berita Rowe Lewis, Majority Leader, present, and Betty Wetmore, Minority Leader, present. Are there any public comments on any action items tonight? Are there any public comments on action items tonight? Third time, any public comments on any action items tonight? Seeing none, I'll close public comment on action items. The first item on the agenda tonight is an order to approve amendment to an agreement between the Town of Hamden and TSKP Studio LLC for architectural engineering services, Hamden Middle School renovation project. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. So moved by Horsley, Dr. Horsley, and seconded by, who was that?
Jeron Alston.
Thank you very much. Jeron. Okay. We now have discussion on the item. Would anybody from administration like to speak to the item?
I would.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for having me here. So the changes, the amendment to the contract that you have before you is was approved last week by the school building committee at a cost of not to exceed $55,000. What that entails, the changes that entails is the result of lengthy discussions between the staff and faculty and the architects. They are changes to the lower level. I think you've all seen the addition to the middle school that's being put on to accommodate the 6th grade being added to the middle school. So the changes are, and actually, if you'd like, I can share my screen. It's probably a lot easier to see the changes visually rather than me describing them. Do I have?
I don't know if you have sharing capability. Is that approved?
Just do it. Yeah, you should be able to share now, Ms. Smith.
Okay. Well, it'd be really helpful if I hold on. Hope I'm pulling up the right thing. That's not letting me. Why is it not letting me?
If you can't, you can explain it and walk us through it if you want.
Okay, yep. I think I'm gonna have to do that because it's not letting me, my computer is not letting me share my screen.
No problem.
All right, so I will quickly try to explain it. You may recall on the lower level of the addition was a large gymnasium, locker rooms, and the health clinic that was on the southern side of the building. This amendment to the design moves the health clinic to the northern side of the building so that it will have direct access from the parking lot, which was a security concern. Instead of direct access from the parking lot, the previous design would have had you walk through the building and or around the building. What this does, as I said, is it allows you direct access to it. People don't have to go through the building. One door, you're in and out. It also takes the gymnasium and removes the gymnasium, removes the locker rooms, but does still have a large fitness space, a large fitness room that can be divided in two. To be used for health classes and smaller fitness classes, things like yoga, more wellness related classes. And then the remaining 2 rooms would be art and music special rooms, specifically for the 6th grade. The advantage of these changes is that instead of having, like I said, a large gymnasium, which has relatively limited transformational abilities, or you know what I'm trying to say. These rooms, while they will be used for specials, they can in the future, as the curriculum changes, they can also change. They can be used for different things instead of being stuck with a large gymnasium that doesn't have the ability to be used for many different purposes or be divided up. And I think that's about it.
Okay. Any questions or comments from members of the committee on this? Ms. Wetmore?
Thank you. I'll be voting against this tonight as I have the whole entire 3R project, even with the changes that were made to it. I really feel Hamden is not in the position to do a huge project like this, and the taxpayers shouldn't have to bear the burden right now. I think it's a great plan, and I think it would be good a few years from now once Hamden gets more stable financially, but I just can't agree with it. And it's no sense in me agreeing with this since I disagreed with everything else. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wetmore. Any further discussion from committee members? Councilman Alston?
Thank you, Councilman Cesare. I'm not going to disagree with this, but becoming just acquainted with the project, I just asked Mr. Jackson, with the increase, where the funding would be coming from for this? Where is it already built in, or is this an increase? Where exactly would this additional $55,000 be coming from?
The $55,000 is still within the footprint of the original funding. This would be part of the contingency funding.
Okay.
Whenever we build a project like this, we add in a contingency of 10 to 15%. And so this is part of that 10 to 15.
Okay.
And just to further answer your question, I did not put any of this into the documentation because I do not have the exact number yet, but there's a strong possibility that this change will actually lower the cost of construction. But because I don't have the exact number of what that savings will be, I don't want to make that promise until we've had a third-party cost estimator look at the cost to ensure that. But it certainly does right now look as though there will actually be a cost savings.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Horsley, you have a question?
Yeah, so thank you, Ms. Smith, for being here to tell us about this. So could you explain a little bit why this project changed? I know you told us about what the changes were, but I missed the reason why it had to change.
Sure. Probably the best way to answer that question is that, given the time that the staff and the faculty and the administration had to look over the design and the programming for it, it became really clear that another gymnasium in the building was really not the best use of the space. So that's probably the simplest way to answer it, and that this current design would give them a lot more flexibility. And we are still pretty early in the process, so catching it kind of before we're well into it.
And this is Tom. Hi, guys. Same concept. Once this got to the educators and we were working with the state, it just seemed more systematic, easier for us to work with. The health center now has its own access. We have a conference room that could be used while the health center is there. So the intent of this, hopefully, is to reduce the cost, get a better bang for our buck, and make it more suitable for the programmatic changes that we're developing.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Horsley. Councilman, you have a question or comment?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Cesare. I'm trying to lower my hand, but I will in there too. Well, a lot of stuff kind of covered. I just wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page. So what this was driven by programmatic changes through the school staff administration.
Yes.
And the healthcare center, just again for clarity's sake, it is not a Board of Education healthcare center. It's a community healthcare center.
I'm going to let Mr. Sendroff answer that question because he has a very good understanding of the healthcare center.
So it is for students. It's a school-based health center run by the Cornell Scott Hill Health Center. And it is to provide both physical health and behavioral health services to students. So it's a real wraparound service.
Which is wonderful. I think it's, more like that, please. But the cost is, what is the cost to the town or the Board of Education on that end?
I defer to Tom on that, but I think it's paid for by the state. I think it is paid for by the state, much like the school-based health clinic in the high school and the other existing one at Church Street.
Exactly, yeah. There's no local cost to that, no LEA budget. It's all grants and state funding.
So we'll be providing services for our community, but not at an additional cost to either the town side or the board side. Outside of this change, outside of this, the capital change. And I just want to emphasize that because we are still worried about minding our dollars and cents. And the last question I had is a little bit more global in nature. Ms. Wetmore expressed some concern about cost in terms of the overall 3R plan. But could you talk us through a little bit about how 3R has evolved and what are the next steps? And I know that the original 3R plan included a lot of money for intra-district magnets and stuff like that. But I believe it's evolved to move away from that. If you could speak to that a little bit and how that affects the overall price tag of the program and of the project.
Julie, you want me to do that or you want me to do that?
Tom, go ahead.
Okay. Well, the 3Rs evolved since over the last couple of years. The 3R is really now the middle school project. The middle school is the key to our 3R project because the middle school will help us move the 6th grade to the middle school and allow us to provide the pre-K services throughout the district. Not it'll be at every school. There might be 1 or 2 classes. So that has changed from the overall universal pre-K that was talked about at the beginning of the program also, because we're going to work together with our local pre-Ks throughout the town and kind of be working together. So in the beginning, we had Ridge. We're not doing Ridge School. We're obviously Westwood was deauthorized. Ridge can be deauthorized now too, because that's not part of our plan anymore. We're not doing any of the magnet school concepts. So right now, the 3R plan has evolved to the middle school, which brings the 6th grade out of the elementary schools, allows us to close the 2 schools once the middle school is completed and ready for occupancy. According to the plan of the 3R, we would close the 2 schools and that would help us racially balance our district. Now that's still up in the air as far as the finality and the timeline, but that's the original 3 plan to where it stands today. That's the board could change that at any time, but financially for you guys, for everybody to understand, it's the middle school of which you already bonded $5.6 million for the local share of the 3R, which is now down to roughly $3.9 million and $1 million, which is set aside for the pre-K program. And I don't know if it will cost that in the end because the pre-K program itself has changed. But the biggest thing obviously is the redistricting our community. And that's has to be done in this plan. The state is pushing in. You know, I see the head shake about sales of schools and things like that, but I think that's gonna evolve. I think, you know, could that change over time? That's a board decision. But right now, that's the question was, where is the 3R today? And that's where it is.
Thank you. You know, in the, you know, full disclosure, big fan of pre-K. I think it, you know, all the studies show way to close the achievement gap and the opportunity gap. It's a great way to get success, to avoid the cost of special education programs later and other, you know, mitigation programs. So big, huge fan. So really very happy that, you know, you're maintaining that part of the 3R plan. And as you say, you know, the school closures and, you know, that stuff, let's see what the board does. And, you know, that'll be a decision further down the road. But I'm very supportive, and obviously I don't vote in the committee process, but I'll be very happy to support this if and when it comes to the full council. Yes, I would like to give lots of credit to the team, the SBC, and Ms. Smith and yourself, Mr. Errol, and the Board of Ed team for really crafting, you know, looking at our economic situation and crafting a plan, or I should say evolving or changing the plan to better fit. And I understand Ms. Wetmore's concerns because, you know, we're all concerned about our financial situation, but it does seem like this is a great investment in our future and in our students and it seems you're doing it in the most cost-effective way possible. So thank you.
I'm going to keep us back on the agenda now. The topic on the agenda is the amendment to the agreement. So would Ms. Dolan like to respond to that or ask questions?
Thank you. So it's my understanding that the contingency is in place for unforeseen conditions. So for example, if we're, you know, starting the construction and we find, you know, a mold problem or there's some kind of vibration and it causes cracking, whatever it may be. And so that's why those contingencies are there, is to protect us from anything that we don't know about. It concerns me that we're going to use the contingency to pay for this. How much of the contingency are we using?
Well, the cost of this contract to the project is an additional not to exceed $55,000. But as I said, and again, I don't have a number, but it does appear that there will be some cost savings that is associated with this change. And
So what should we,
I'm sorry?
should we wait to see what the cost savings are before we approve the $55,000?
My recommendation would be to absolutely not do that because right now the timeline of the project is such that we really do need to keep moving forward as quickly as we can. And just one, I understand your concern about using contingency, but contingency, while yes, it is generally used for, unforeseen, you open up a wall and, oh my gosh, there's, remediation needs. The contingency can also be used for design changes. And I think in this particular case, and I think the school building committee really felt this way as well, that this change was really a change for the better of the overall design of the program, and that it was really driven by programmatic needs. So I think they felt that it did meet the criteria for using contingency funds.
How much of the contingency are we using? Like the contingency was 100,000, we're using 55,000 of it, what?
No, the contingency is generally, as Finance Director Jackson said, the contingency is usually anywhere between 8 to 15% of an overall project. So the overall project, I believe, is 11.6. So somebody who's much better at math can tell me what the contingency is, but it's a large number.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I do not have that number available. I'm just getting up to speed on this particular project. But the curiosity of the project is also related to the ability to save money on the ultimate construction. So we need to take a look at that. Although we are sort of building space for this utilization, it may end up actually saving dollars in the long term.
Any other questions, Councilwoman Dolan?
All set, thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Baez.
Hello, Councilman Cesare, thank you for letting me speak during your committee. I'm not a member, but I am a member of the SBC. And so I'm just going to bring in some information that I've gotten from having the meeting with those folks and why I voted for this to come to this committee. I do think this is a good idea to make this change. It is something that the school wants, the faculty wants, the state, as well as the builders think is a good idea for us to do. In such an early time in this project that is definitely happening, I think that we should get onto this change that is going to definitely save us money. So the folks are being kind of shy about what kind of quotes we gotten because it's not certified by a third party. But the architect that is asking for this said that we would likely be saving $191,000 in the construction. So again, that's not certified by a third party, but his report to us said that we would save about $191,000 in construction. So if you minus what we spend on these costs, $55,000, that's $136,000 in rough savings. Now, this isn't, again, it's not certified by a third party, but this is the architect that we trust because we've been working with them for years. And we're a client of theirs that they obviously aren't going to try to pull the wool over our eyes. This is also a contract that goes up to $55,000. So that means we still have some savings that we can get. I also want to say that this money is being subsidized by the state funding. So this contract, as well as all the dollars that are going to the school, are being reimbursed by the state at, I believe, 60%. It's a large percentage. It's not, we're not paying this full bullet. We're not biting this whole bullet. We're putting up front this cost, and then we'll be getting back a portion of it. Again, I want to press that we as a people might not see what the school is going to look like right now, but if we put this in, at the very least, we know that we're saving about $100,000 plus. And I think that alone is a good campaign for something that's definitely going to happen. We're definitely going to do the middle school. Why not save some money? And then on top of that, if you're not thinking about money, but you're thinking about what else is going on in the town, is that faculty think this is a good idea. The state that is giving us this grant money thinks this is a good idea, and our builders think this is a good idea. So for me, that's a plus, plus, plus all around. So I might not be a middle school student. I might not be a teacher. I might not be a builder building the building, but I have to take advice from those folks who are on the ground. And I think that is a good idea. So again, I'm not a part of your committee, but I want to press to you guys. This is me campaigning. Yes, let's save $136,000 today. All right. That's it.
Councilman Bias, thank you so much for that information. It's very useful, very helpful to the points being made. And thank you for all your work. We appreciate it. Absolutely. Councilman Horsley?
Yeah, Councilwoman.
I am Councilwoman Horsley. I apologize.
Thank you. Yes. So I also want to thank Ms. Baez for that information. I think the cost savings in general in this project is really is encouraging for the future of Hamden. I also am really convinced that this health center is going to benefit the future of Hamden. We know that middle schoolers need more mental health services, and just having this center in their school, I think is going to make a big difference for those children growing up to be stable, emotionally healthy grown-ups, and that's what we need in this world. So I'm all for this.
Councilman Horsley, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Any further discussion on the item? Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the, Councilwoman Berita Rowe Lewis, you have a question or comment?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
No question, but I want to thank everyone. Mrs. Baez, who else spoke? Everyone else who spoke. I am for this. And how many times do we get information on the council to hear that we're going to save some money? And so when we hear this, we have to be excited and say, yes, we want to do it. I was for it all along because I think it's important. Also, when we hear mental health for kids, and so in this time or whatever time it is, a lot of individuals talk about wraparound service. This is the real wraparound service that I want to see. I want to see it early on in a child's life and make sure it happens to all of us. So I thank you for doing the legwork that made this happen. Appreciate it. I will be voting for this. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those wonderful words. We appreciate it. We're going to continue on now. Any further discussion on the item? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? One opposed? The item passes. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 7:53 p.m.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Cesare. I'd just like to remind folks that we will have our department head presentations tomorrow night and Wednesday night starting at 6. And next week we'll have our public hearings for the town side of the budget Tuesday night starting at 7, and the Board of Education starting at 7. And then our budget deliberations begin April 6th, and the whole calendar is available on hamden.com.
Council President, thank you. Do we know how long? I'm not for limiting conversation of department heads, but like, what is our timeline, do we think, with these meetings? Are we going to play it by ear?
the concept for the department head meetings, the goal is for the department head to present their plans and present their budgets. And for us to craft questions that we can take a deep dive into during the deliberation time. Depending on the questions that come in and the issues that are being raised, I will craft the schedule after our department head so that we can hear, so we can see like, okay, it seems like this department's going to need a little more time than others. And then I will schedule appropriately, trying to get, maybe several departments that have fewer questions coming in on one night and give one department perhaps its own night or a bit more time if it seems like that a particular department is going to need more. But it will be a tight time frame for these next two nights. After the departments give their presentations, I would ask council people to take 2 minutes each to ask questions or to submit questions in writing. I sent in a batch of, or I should say Ms. Renta sent in a batch of questions this morning that hopefully department heads can address in their presentations. But certainly the idea is that we all kind of, tomorrow is the appetizer, as you might say, and the main course will be when we dive into the deliberation time.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. I just wanted to know, so thank you for taking that question.
Sure. Anything else for good of the order before we say goodnight to everyone? I was just checking to see if it was still light out, but it's not. All right, everyone. Thank you, everyone, and have a very pleasant evening.
Good night, everyone.
Safe travels. Good night.